Live from WTOC, the Southeast News leader. The News Now starts on WTOC Plus.
Welcome to The News on WTOC Plus. I'm digital anchor Jude Binkley. A 14-year-old is dead after a hit and run in Chatham County near Glade and Ferguson, and police are asking for help to identify the vehicle involved. Chatham County police say they're investigating an incident after it left a young teen dead. This happened Sunday night. Now, the boy was riding an electric bike when he was hit by a car around 7 p.m. That's according to police. He was taken to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police say they don't have a description of the suspect's vehicle, but they say they're using forensic investigative techniques to try and identify it. CCPD is asking for the public's help to give them any home surveillance video or doorbell camera footage that may help that investigation. You can give it to them on the Chatham County Police website or by calling Crime Stoppers at the number on your screen. Well, this is just into our newsroom in the Low Country. A man was arrested after a teen was stabbed outside of a Target parking lot over the weekend. Here's what we just learned from the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office. This all happened just after 6 p.m. on Saturday. Deputies responded to the parking lot of the Target in Bluffton for a reported stabbing. When they got there, deputies found a 17-year-old who was suffering from stab wounds. Investigators say that the victim was involved in a fight with another juvenile in the parking lot, and during that fight between the two juveniles, another person got a sharp object and stabbed the victim. The subjects then fled the scene, according to authorities. EMS did respond, and the victim was transported to the hospital for medical attention. Investigators were able to identify 19-year-old Ramiro Arcos Romero of Ridgeland as the man who stabbed the victim. He was arrested yesterday, December 28th, and was taken to the Jasper County Detention Center. He's been charged with attempted murder and possession of a weapon during commission of a violent crime. Well, Savannah police responded to the 200 block of East Bolton Street this afternoon due to an at-risk individual in a tree. You can see some of the video from the scene right now. Savannah Fire, Savannah Police, and EMS were all on scene. We have just learned in the last half hour that the fire department and EMS have left. Police are still there. The road is opened up. We should also point out that if you or someone you know is in a crisis, you can always call or text the crisis line at that number on your screen, 741-741. It's a free text message service that provides 24/7 to support to those in crisis. Staying on the crime watch, Savannah police are investigating after a man was shot and killed at the Fraser Homes last night. That shooting was at the 600 block of West Gwinnett Street. The gunfire happened around 6:20 last night. Now, SPD did confirm a man was shot and that he later died from his injuries. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers or use the SPD mobile app where you can stay anonymous. Well, several businesses and hundreds of people showed up in support of a young man's family after he was tragically killed 2 weeks ago while visiting family in the hostess city. You'll remember that heartbreaking story we brought you last week. Taisha Abdullah and her family lost their loved one to gun violence. On December 14th, Antonio Thornton Jr. was shot and killed inside of a Bloomingdale apartment complex. His family calls him TJ, and TJ was visiting from north of Atlanta to see family in Savannah when he was shot and killed. The family held a graduation ceremony Saturday in his honor, as TJ was set to graduate high school in May. Henry Street Bistro hosted that event for the family, and many community members and businesses donated to make it all possible.
Savannah alone, they have came out and helped me. They supported me. They donated to a GoFund for me. They sent prayers, text messages. It was just so much of love and support from them. I cry every second for my child. If you have a child that's dealing with guns and gun violence, hanging with the wrong crowd, you should stop it. Show them me, a grieving mother that's hurting, that won't see her child ever again. I won't get a text message or call or anything. But what I do have right now is love and support from the city of Savannah and all over. Just being out here in Savannah right now is just amazing. Just the love and support I've got is amazing.
Food, tables, chairs, and a photo booth for family photos were all donated, all to help the family through the grieving process. It was a community effort, and everyone showed out for TJ. We also spoke with the business manager of the spot about donating that venue free of charge.
To make sure the only thing the family needed to do was just show up. Just show up, that's it. Because we know that this was already extreme for them, that they already had enough on their plate just to plan his funeral. So we wanted to take all the stress away from them as far as taking care of after the funeral.
Now, the family is now planning TJ's funeral. Many people in the community have been donating to help put him to rest. His family is also accepting donations, and we have a link to where you can donate in our web story at WTOC.com. And following that ceremony, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations announced an arrest in TJ's murder, a 16-year-old from Savannah named Franklin James Jr. James Jr. has been arrested on multiple charges, including felony murder, aggravated assault, armed robbery, and 2 counts of possession of a firearm. He's been booked into the Savannah Regional Youth Detention Center. Despite being a juvenile, James will be prosecuted as an adult. However, a mugshot will not be made available because he is a minor. Stay tuned as more developments come in this case. Well, we're continuing coverage on the Professional Hockey Players Association. The ECHL announced yesterday that they've reached a tentative deal on a new collective bargaining agreement. This all comes after the cancellation of ECHL games in Atlanta over the weekend and a strike by the Savannah Ghost Pirates, which forced the cancellation of Savannah's Star Wars night at Enmarket Arena on Friday. The agreement still needs to be ratified by the Players Association membership and approved by the league's Board of Governors. Pending votes, players are expected to report to their teams in good faith and prepare to return to the ice. Turning now to health news, as you get ready to ring in 2026, health officials say this is the deadliest week of the year for your heart, with the stress of the holidays and New Year upon us. The American Heart Association says the last week of December has the highest number of deaths due to heart disease. It's called holiday heart syndrome, which can be triggered by stress and overindulgence. The syndrome causes heart palpitations, shortness of breath, chest pressure, and can last for 24 to 48 hours. Dr. Iva Smolens at MUSC says your heart can jump 160 to 180 beats per minute, which is twice what's healthy and feels like you're running a marathon even when sitting. We also heard from Trident health officials, and they warn it's important to watch for what you eat.
Will end up in congestive heart failure because they're eating foods that are higher in sodium, eating bigger portions, eating more sweets, and it ends up putting them into heart failure where they retain fluid and then they end up having to go in the hospital. Will end up in congestive.
Now, 5 minutes of breathing exercise could save you this holiday season. Doctors also say if you experience symptoms, don't wait and call 911. After the holidays, they also recommend doing a heart checkup. Turning now to national news, President Trump is focused on foreign affairs while visiting his Mar-a-Lago estate in South Florida for the holidays. Yesterday, he met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and today he's pivoting to host Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. CBS's Aaron Navarro has the latest from the White House.
We could be very close.
President Trump expressed optimism after meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at his Mar-a-Lago estate about finalizing a 20-point peace plan that could end the Russia-Ukraine war.
We have made a lot of progress on ending that war, which is really certainly the most deadly war since World War II.
The sticking points include security guarantees for Ukraine and territorial disputes.
We have to respect our law and our people. We respect the territory which we control. And of course, our attitude is very clear.
And the agreement will also have to secure the backing of Russian President Vladimir Putin. President Trump called his discussions with Putin productive as well, but warned that the talks must soon reach a resolution.
If things don't happen, they keep fighting and they keep dying. And we don't want that to happen. He doesn't want it to happen. President Putin doesn't want it to happen either.
President Trump moves to another complex conflict today, the Israel-Hamas war. He's hosting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for another afternoon of meetings. The two leaders have met 6 times in the past year. Today's focus will be phase 2 of the Gaza peace plan, as Hamas refuses to disarm and release a final Israeli hostage, and Israel continues striking Gaza despite the 2-month-old ceasefire. Aaron Navarro, CBS News, the White House.
Well, back here at home, the State Department of Public Safety says 13 people died in crashes during the Christmas travel period. Officers also cited 239 people for driving under the influence. That's up from over 100 people as of Friday's count. Another 444 people are facing citations for distracted driving. And we are just days away from New Year's Eve, and many people across the coastal empire are gearing up to ring in 2026. As the festivities begin, officials are urging caution for those who plan to drink while out celebrating. December is known as National Impaired Driving Prevention Month because Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are two of the most celebrated days of the year. Not only are they some of the most celebrated, but they're also the deadliest. The National Highway Safety Administration recorded more than 4,900 drunk driving crashes from 2019 to 2023 in that period. Officials say if your holiday celebrations include alcohol or anything else that could impact your ability to drive, you should plan ahead and arrange a ride home with a sober driver. AAA is also once again offering its free tow-to-go service from now through 6 a.m. on January 2nd for all Georgians. Tow-to-go is a last resort option. If needed, operators will tow impaired drivers and their vehicles to a safe location within a 10-mile radius. Well, turning now to sports news, the Georgia Southern Eagles are getting ready to kick off their big bowl game in Birmingham against their rivals, App State. To get ready for the Birmingham Bowl, there was a blue and white pep rally. The Southern Pride marching band, cheerleaders, and even members of the football team showed up and showed out as they gear up for the big game. Our very own Zach Fox is hanging out with the fans who traveled to Birmingham for the game.
Listen, Eagle Nation is so special, Zach, and to have them here in Birmingham with us and just, celebrating a bowl game, but also really honoring our football team and everything they did to fight to get here and have everybody here together and be after Christmas. What a great time on national TV, on our Georgia Southern Sports Network, and the only game that day, college football, really special. So big shout out, but not surprised because Eagle Nation is so special.
And that game kicked. Look at Clay Helton having fun. That's something else. The game kicks off in less than an hour now at 2 p.m. Well, today marks 1 year since the death of former President Jimmy Carter at 100 years old. Carter, a Democrat, is the only U.S. president from the state of Georgia. He served one term from 1977 to 1981 and campaigned on a promise to never tell a lie. Ivan Rodriguez takes us through the remarkable life President Carter is remembered for.
From a small-town Georgia peanut farmer to President of the United States, Jimmy Carter aspired to make government competent and compassionate.
Our social and political progress has been based on one fundamental principle: the value and importance of the individual.
After 7 years as a naval officer, he returned home to Plains, Georgia, before entering into politics, eventually being elected governor of Georgia, using the platform to speak out against racism.
I say to you quite frankly that the time for racial discrimination is over.
Becoming president in 1977, his achievements were notable, including the Camp David Peace Accords in 1978, the framework for peace between Israel and Egypt. But there were dark days too, including the Iran hostage crisis that, together with the continuing inflation at home and an energy shortage, contributed to Ronald Reagan's landslide victory in 1980. Jimmy and his wife Rosalind founded the Carter Center in 1982, promoting peace, democracy, human rights, and economic and social development all over the world. In 2002, his work earned him the Nobel Peace Prize. A devout Christian, his life was largely defined by his faith and service to others. He spent decades teaching Sunday school in the small town where he was raised and volunteering with Habitat for Humanity. The longest-lived president in American history. I love you! Leaves behind a legacy of love. Married 77 years before his beloved Rosalind's passing in November 2023, calling their marriage the pinnacle of his life.
Well, the best thing I ever did was marrying Rosalind.
In Plains, Georgia, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Well, right now, a group of Buddhist monks is making its way to our nation's capital, and they're traveling on foot. Today marks day 66 of their journey, spreading their message of unity and kindness. Now, our sister station caught up with them in Luthersville, which is a small town in Meriwether County, just about an hour or so south of Atlanta. They left Texas in late October, began their walk, and spent the last 10 days in Alabama. Plenty of people came out to watch them yesterday as the monks moved through, saying that they just wanted to catch a glimpse.
Well, I have seen a lot of sufferings around us, many years, and so I think that this is the right time for us to do something to support our country.
I really don't know the reason. All I know is for peace, and I'm thinking they're trying to make peace within the world.
The group continued along State Highway 54 and 4 hours later arrived in Sharpsburg, where they spent the night. Right now, they are walking through Clayton County, Georgia. All right, and finally, as we end near the end of 2025, we're taking a look at who topped the music charts this year. And the Billboard 200 album chart is ending 2025 on a pretty familiar note. Taylor Swift's The Life of a Showgirl notched its 11th week at number 1. Swift's only album to surpass that was last year's The Tortured Poets Department, which was number 1 for 17 weeks. The top 5 are rounded out by I'm the Problem by Morgan Wallen, SOS by SZA, GNX by Kendrick Lamar, and Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter. And when it comes to the global 200 top songs of the year, Billboard says the number 5 spot goes to Beautiful Things by Benson Boone. Number 4 is Ordinary by Alex Warren. 3 is Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish, followed by Die With a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. And the number 1 song of the year is APT by Rosie and Bruno Mars. A little different than my personal top 5. I pulled up my Spotify Wrap just to kind of see what it was. My top 5 artists were the Oh Hellos, the Crane Wives, Turnpike Troubadours, Eric Church, and Shane Smith. I think there's a decent amount of versatility there. I don't think mine ever changes a whole lot, but always interesting to see that in November. But with that was our last story here on WTOC Plus. So we are going to wrap things up now. Thanks for spending part of your Monday with us. We'll be back in just about 10-15 minutes for the First Alert Weather Show with Dave Turley coming up. Then we'll be back with another round of stories at the top of the hour at 2 o'clock. And in the meantime, you can always head on over to our website to get the latest updates at WTOC.com. Thanks for watching, and here's Local News Live.